What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Veteran and
guys.
Rookie Podcast. This is your veteran here speaking, and with the more quiet soda pop today, we got our rookie right here.
It was a classy soda pop, I think.
Very distinguished.
I have with me a Henry Wen. Yeah, I have one of these. It's an orange cream. It's we're not sponsored, but
Beverage of choice today.
we will take your money if you wanted to give it to us. It's very delicious.
For our YouTube viewers, soak it all in. This might be the last time you ever see us in this recording studio right here.
Yeah, this may very well be the last veteran and rookie podcast in this area.
We might get one more week. We'll see what happens. But working on getting a studio together, as you would say.
Yeah, our budget's really been expanding for the last year and a half. We've been doing
Thank
this,
you for all your donations, your support. Couldn't do it without you.
We really do appreciate it. And we're just going to get a better filming location, and we think that it'll look a lot nicer. And
Maybe we'll actually have like a camera stand, maybe a table even.
Man, it's going to be exciting. I'm thrilled for it.
New year, new us.
New year, new us. And the end of the regular season.
Yeah, how about the first week of games in the year of 2024, the calendar year, but still the 2023 season? Let's recap what happened over this past week. So
a bit of a recap even.
After last week's episode, John, he was still trailing me by I think 7 games in the Pick'ems competition. And so he had to make some wild picks, like picking the Giants over the Eagles, which worked out. But ultimately, it was a wash. We both went 9-7.
That's crazy.
Despite all the differences. I was also trying to get under 100. I was at 96 incorrect picks. And so I went just over there. So I finished the 2023 NFL season 170 and 102. To finish with a 60, or to finish
you got 7 wrong and you had 96. Wouldn't that be 100?
Or 95. I wanted to get 4 or less wrong, so I can be under 100. And then you finished at 163 and 109, so a .599. You got 59% of your picks correct, basically 60. I got 62% of my picks correct right there. But for the draft picks, which I mean, I guess we are doing some draft picks in the playoffs. I'm not sure if we have enough games to where I could catch you, but we will, I guess, keep doing it.
Are we going to add these as like adding on top of the regular season, or you think we're going to do these as like a separate, like the playoffs?
Let's do a separate. This is the one that matters.
This is the playoffs. This was just for
the
seeding.
Pick'ems, the whole thing that our podcast is surrounded by, or not our Pick'ems, but our draft picks. That's all preseason. That's all build up to this.
Preseason picks.
This is when the season really starts. So for game of the week, I took Bills-Niners. You went Bills-Dolphins. You went Rams-Niners. So I gave myself that point right there for the better game, the one that wasn't featuring backup quarterbacks with no stakes involved, where the Bills and Dolphins playing for that division. And it was a pretty close game. Came down to the end where Tua was like, Chase Claypool's double covered. Let me force it to him.
Did not turn out well. The
Miami,
Chase Claypool curse.
Yeah, Miami just keeps doing this thing, specifically Tua, where I wasn't sold on him going into the season, and I'm still not sold on him. I think he's good, but I don't think he's great, and I have a tough time seeing him becoming that. For blowout of the week, I also took that category. I took the Lions over the Vikings. They handled business. They're playing their starters in Week 18, even though they pretty much had everything locked up already, couldn't really do too much.
Yeah, and they got people hurt, too.
Yeah, Sam Laporta might miss their playoff game, which is
stupid decision.
Kind of big.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he did get enough yards before his injury to essentially have the best rookie tight end season. I mean, there is an extra game in there, but still, what he did this year, I mean, normally rookie tight ends struggle. Like, it seems like it normally takes 2 or 3 years for a tight end to really establish themselves in the league. And Sam Laporta basically from day one was like, yeah, I'm that guy.
Himothy.
For your blowout of the week, you took the Jags over the Titans.
Womp womp.
Major womp womp. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars were 8-3 at one point in the season, and they were like tied for the top seed in the AFC, and they finished 9-8. Their only win after being 8-3 was when Trevor Lawrence didn't even play, and they played the Panthers last week.
That's
26-0. A lot of people hating on Trevor Lawrence, which is understandable because, he was supposed to be the next Peyton Manning. He's a good quarterback. There's a lot of people calling him a bust, and I guess, with those expectations, you could say that, but he's not a bad quarterback, but currently he's not playing like a top 10 quarterback even.
He busted for those expectations, but I think, he's like, he's manageable.
Yeah, and while we're covering the Titans right here, they made a big move on Tuesday morning, firing Mike Vrabel after he had been a pretty good coach for him, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he gets hired within the next week or so, because I think he's a good coach, and it kind of sounded like there was some, I guess, issues between him and management, and that's also what happens when you trade away A.J. Brown and some of your other good players. Then he's not really in control of it, and then you say, okay, go win a Super Bowl with our team that's worse now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a tough sitch right there. So a lot of people thinking that if Belichick is done in New England, which as of recording, he's still the head coach there
currently,
but if Belichick is done in New England, they could bring in Mike Vrabel. He did win 3 Super Bowls with them as a linebacker in the 2000s.
He was a linebacker?
Mm-hmm. And he has 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl receptions.
That's crazy. What the frick?
Put him in at like tight end. Brady threw it to him.
That's insane.
And he had a very good career as a linebacker as well. And I think he's one of the better head coaches in the league.
That's insane. Brady threw him passes. Brady was in the league last year. And
then
he
was the head coach of the Titans when they beat the Patriots in the playoffs in Brady's last game in New England.
That's crazy. That's insane. Man, Tom Brady's so old.
Tennessee, they could be going down a dark path. I mean, Will Levis was looking promising, but Derrick Henry is definitely gone. I mean, they gave him the mic after the game and let him talk to the fans and be like, thank you for the best 8 years of my life. And that's not something you say when you're going to be back next year.
Mm-hmm.
And, Derrick Henry even reacted on Twitter like, why did they fire Mike Vrabel?
For real.
So, he is 112% gone.
Yeah, I hope he's treated well on his next team, and I hope they win a Super Bowl because he needs one.
Maybe he'll go to the Chargers if they don't end up hiring Jim Harbaugh.
Please don't.
Who is almost definitely going to be taking a job in the NFL, it sounds like, after winning the championship with Michigan on Monday night.
Maybe he won't go to the Chargers, and that'll be better for him.
Could be. I mean, typically it is better to not be on the Chargers. Even when you be coaching someone like Justin Herbert, it'd be better for Justin Herbert to not be on the Chargers.
I think the Chargers organization should disband. Yeah,
big time cursed. For lowest scoring game of the week, you went with Broncos-Raiders. That game finished as a Raiders victory, 27-14. Antonio Pierce still the head coach there. He was the interim head coach, and we'll see if he sticks around. It sounds like the fans want him.
All the players like him, too.
Mm-hmm. And there were a bunch of the fans at the game were holding up signs, and they were chanting his name and stuff. So
yeah,
finished 5-4 on the season for him. So a winning record right there, and we'll see what the Raiders do. But it was not the lowest scoring game of the week. I picked one that had 20 total points as the Jets possibly give Bill Belichick a loss in his last game, potentially, as the coach of the New England Patriots, 17-3, which was pretty surprising. 4-13, it's the worst record Belichick has ever had as a head coach. And, the Jets haven't beat the Patriots since 2015 until Sunday.
That's crazy.
And so that's a rough way to go in New England. In a snowstorm, the fans didn't show up, which makes sense because, they're losing and it's a snowstorm and they're terrible. But, typically, in the past 20 years, doesn't matter what the weather is in New England, the fans are still there. So, tough times.
It's tough being 4-13.
4-13. I think they have the 3rd overall pick in the draft. So, we'll see.
Maybe they'll get something good. Maybe they'll get a quarterback who doesn't suck.
I hope they get nothing good. I still don't like the Patriots.
They just trade all their stuff away.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't get anything. That'd be kind of funny.
I got those 3 points right there. Upset of the week, it came close for me, but Cardinals kicker Matt Prater missed 2 field goals, both of which would have given Arizona likely the win.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, Seattle finishes the season with a winning record at 9-8. No playoffs for them. There was also some speculation around Pete Carroll potentially leaving, but it sounds like he's going to be sticking around, and I don't see why he wouldn't unless he wanted to retire because he is the oldest coach in the NFL. I think he's 74.
Pete Carroll's 74?
Mm-hmm. He's up there.
That's insane.
He's still killing it, though. And then your upset of the week did hit Steelers over Ravens. Baltimore resting a good chunk of their starters, and I think they got out of that game pretty healthy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing big that I remember. Oh, the Steelers didn't get out of that game healthy, though. TJ Watt's going to be out for their playoff game against Buffalo on Sunday. So that's kind of a big deal right there if they're going to end up winning that game. But we'll get into those wild card games here a little bit later in the show. Fantasy player of the week, I went with Mike Evans. I had him in fantasy football, and even though the fantasy football season is done, I was like, you know what, he's old reliable. And he got all of 5.2 points as the Bucs kicked 3 field goals and win 9-0 over the Panthers, who, you know, hadn't been shut out since 2002, and now they've been shut out in back-to-back weeks. And then you picked CeeDee Lamb. Very smart pick right there, as he has been going off in the second half of the season. He is the all-time single-season receiver in Cowboys history now when it comes to yards and maybe even touchdowns. I'm not sure.
What did he get for yards?
Receptions. He's over 1,600.
That's
I think he's
insane.
second in yards behind Tyreek Hill.
Wow.
He had 35.5 points in fantasy.
That's crazy.
So he scored 30 more points than Mike Evans, so you get those 2 points. So that's going to bring the regular season standings. You got 39, and I got 32, so a 5-point difference right there.
And that's and now we're headed into the playoffs of pick'ems, because that didn't matter, right? It was just for seeding.
Yep. And you do get the first pick because I had the first pick last week, so we'll just continue to go back and forth there. Any other games that you wanted to hit on, though, in Week 18? I mean, my Green Bay Packers really kind of dominated the Bears. The scoreboard doesn't really show it, but there were a few drops and, you know, some miscues and whatnot, but they very easily could have had 2 more touchdowns on the board in that game. 17-9 as they punched their ticket to the playoffs. They're going to be playing the Cowboys in the wild card round.
And you're going to get destroyed.
It's possible with the way CeeDee Lamb has been playing recently. One pick that got us both was we both picked the Browns over the Bengals because we were like, we're not going to go against Joe Flacco. What we didn't know at the time, though, is that the Browns would be resting their starters.
Yeah, that's probably, we did not think about that because we're stupid.
Yeah, we're a little bit silly like that. So Cincinnati dominates that game 31-14, and it could be, you know, there could be some key players on this Bengals team that won't be there next year. There's questions around Joe Mixon if he's going to still be there. Tyler Boyd could very well be gone. T. Higgins is in a contract year as well, and so sure they'll have Joe Burrow back next season, but there's a good chance that he will have worse weapons outside of Jamar Chase. We'll see how Cincinnati kind of reloads in the offseason. One thing that we were talking about before we started the show was the Saints-Falcons game. And right at the very end there, Jameis Winston, instead of kneeling and out like his coach told him to, hand it off to Jamal Williams because he hadn't had a touchdown all year, get him into the end zone. And Arthur Smith, the former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons now, he wasn't too happy about that.
He got fired?
Yep, he got fired on Sunday night. He was the first coach after the season ended to get fired.
That's crazy.
And the Saints have no respect for their coach, but it sounds like he will be sticking around for another year. And the Saints will be mediocre for another season, it sounds like.
I love that they did that and that people are mad about that. I always think it's stupid when people just like, oh, we're at the 1 yard line and we have 4 players. Let's just kneel it out. It's like, get another touchdown. Who cares? Like,
run up the score. Why not?
You're trying to win a game.
You're professionals.
Like, you want – stop talking. But, like, why wouldn't you? There's no reason to not.
I'm agreeing with you, though.
Yeah, but you're saying it in like a condescending way. You're like, oh, yeah, you're professionals. Why wouldn't you just do something so childish like that?
No, I'm saying they should because they are professionals.
Exactly.
They're paid to score.
Exactly. And then people will get upset. How dare you do that? Like, play some defense. It's not hard.
Yeah, 48-17.
Yeah, you let the Saints put up almost 50 points on you, and you're complaining that they put up 6?
Maybe don't go 7-10 every year.
Yeah, try to be better and just bomb for a year and get better draft picks, and then maybe be better, or maybe use your weapons and pretend that Kyle Pitts is a real human, or anything at all, please.
Hopefully the next head coach knows how to utilize his very talented weapons.
Because I like how Shannon Sharp was just like, come on, man, you can't be doing that. You need to be fired right now. It's like, Shut up. Like,
oh yeah, he was saying that they should cut Jameis for that.
That's insane.
Thing was though, it wasn't just Jameis; it was everyone.
The
in
whole
huddle
team, and even
was
if
yeah, let's do this.
Even if it was just Jameis, who cares? He scored points. That's what he's supposed to be doing. Like, if you line up in victory formation and do that, that's just a trick play. Like, who cares? Like,
and it's in one of the best rivalries in the NFL.
Yeah, like big middle finger. Like that's a crazy way to end the season. Nobody's getting to the playoffs, and it's like, you know what? Screw these guys because we hate them. It's people are stupid.
I love it. We also had an early playoff game on Saturday night between the Colts and Texans. Winner is in the playoffs. Loser is eliminated. And it came down to the very end. I mean, C.J. Stroud, in his first ever primetime game, went off. First play of the game, 75-yard touchdown to Nico Collins.
Baller.
Who needs Tank Dell anyway? I mean, imagine if Tank Dell was healthy, though, and he had Nico Collins, too.
Wow, that'd
and
be sick.
Noah Brown's had his games where he's gone for, like, I feel like he's gone for over 200 at least once this season. Like, it doesn't really matter who it is. C.J. Stroud, I mean, it's between him and Puka Nacua for Rookie of the Year. They are both just having crazy seasons.
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of scared of the Texans next year. I don't think they're going to make too deep of a run this year into the playoffs.
But I mean, you give C.J. Stroud another weapon or two.
And another year with that team?
Mm-hmm.
A whole
another year
season?
of development. You get him some more pieces, build up that defense a little bit more.
They could be a top 5 team.
And Houston, even though they traded away their first-round pick last year in order to draft Will Anderson, they still have the Browns' first-round pick from that Deshaun Watson trade. And so they're still going to be having a first-round pick this season. And so things are just going pretty swimmingly down in Houston. Meanwhile, the Colts, they had a chance to win it at the very end there. Minshew's pass. It was it wasn't the easiest pass to catch.
You're a professional.
But it was off the hands of the running back, and just a tough sitch for him. You know, after the game, he was talking, and he was kind of choking up a little bit. He was like, man, like, he knew he fricked up, and hopefully he's able to bounce back at some point. That's a rough way to lose. Normally, if you lose, you want it to be something like a great play by the defense, knocking the pass down or something. You don't want it to be something like that.
Yeah, it is really unfortunate. He has 19 catches in his career, I think.
Yeah. Also, when it comes to the play caller, though, it's 4th and 1. Jonathan Taylor's been going wild all day.
Insane call.
Maybe give it to him, or at least throw it to him. Throw it to one of your best players.
Maybe it was like misdirection because like Jonathan Taylor's not back there. Oh, they're not going to run it. They're going to throw it. So he had room.
They were overthinking it.
He had room to get it to that guy. It should have been a better throw and it should have been caught, but they should have Jonathan Taylor in there, I think.
Yeah.
Big fumble. Big fumble.
I mean, there's not a whole lot. I mean, Ron Rivera fired by the Commanders as their head coach. But we all knew that was coming 2 months ago. Cowboys win 38-10 going into the playoffs right there. Is the commies have the second overall pick.
Hot, steamy garbage.
And they'll have a new quarterback. I think, I don't know if Bill Belichick would do this.
Mm-mm.
But it's a new owner in Washington. Now, we don't know if he's a good owner or not. He doesn't have much of a track record. But, if you're the new owner of the Commanders and you want to make a statement, you bring in Bill Belichick. You let him pick whatever quarterback he wants with that second overall pick. Probably some guy from a D3 school you've never heard of. And then makes him a Hall of Famer. And,
2 more Super Bowls out of him before he keels over and dies.
You just, you be a good owner. You stay hands off. You say, Bill Belichick, you want to be the GM too? Go for it. Like, let's do this thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's a new owner. He doesn't really know what he's doing. So if it were me, I'd probably do something like that.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know what I'm doing, so it's like, here you go.
Why don't I just hire the greatest coach in NFL history?
He has 8 Super Bowl rings, I think.
Yep. Got 2 with the Giants as a defensive coordinator, and of course his 6 in New England.
Yeah. Why not add
Get
a
him
couple
2 more and let him fill out both his hands right there.
Get 10 on, and then an 11th for his pinky toe.
All right, let's go to the draft. So you got the first pick of the playoff draft, and since there's less games, we are limited to the categories that we can choose.
That's true.
So,
unless you want to let me pick 5 categories, you can pick 1.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
So
we're going to do best game, so game of the week, biggest blowout, and upset of the week.
You know what? I think I'm going to take upset first. seeding says that this is an upset, so I'm taking it. It's the 3 seed Lions against the 6 seed Rams, and I think the Rams win this.
Ooh, okay. What are you thinking?
I think Stafford comes back, and I saw a funny video on TikTok or Instagram today. It was like this guy, he's like, we don't even care about Matthew Stafford, and he's like if Matthew Stafford was like chilling and like smoking a cigarette, like leaning up against a really cool car, we wouldn't be like go over to him and like try and hang out or anything. Like we don't even care. Like we like Goff now. We're hanging with Goff, and he was like on the brim of crying, and so yeah, it's a really conflicting game for Lions fans. But I do think that Stafford pulls this out. The Rams have been scary the last couple of weeks, and I think they keep it going. I could see them in the Super Bowl, honestly.
Yeah, they've won. I don't know how much it is now. It's like 5 of their last 6 or something like that.
Something good.
And the only team that they lost to was the Ravens in overtime, the top seed in the AFC.
In overtime?
In Baltimore. And so they've been playing some really good football recently. The stats don't necessarily reflect it with Stafford. They're good, but I think he's been having an even better season than that. And I mean, if they make a deep playoff run here, win a couple of playoff games, it would also really help his own Hall of Fame case.
I do think maybe he has a case for comeback player of the year.
Maybe, yeah, because he only played like half the season last year.
He was hurt last year. He was not that good, and making a playoff run now. They were like 4-12 or 4-13 last year, right?
I think 5-11 or 5-12 something. Yeah,
we're both on 16 games here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's come back and he's playing really good. Like watching him play it's a treat. It's like
it really is. And so,
oh my goodness, his sidearm is like the prettiest thing. He just like
that looks kind of Mahomey.
Like oh Mahomey there.
Even though he's been doing it 10 years longer.
Yeah, it's crazy. But like he'll just fit it like right underneath the
without
armpit
looking.
Of somebody and like right in between 3 different people to Puka Nacua, and yeah, and that's a scary receiving core too.
Well, you remember how he has the 2 highest receiving seasons? He's the quarterback, and now he's the quarterback for the highest rookie receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford's just out here throwing it to him.
He's the man,
and he's the one getting them all those yards.
He gets him the ball. That's the thing. Like he
gets them to his playmakers.
Yeah,
and I feel like some people that give him slack, they call him, what is it, Matt? Something about padding stats or something like that, and it's like, no, he's just good.
Yeah, he is good. He is good, and he looks good too.
Scriptwriters just absolutely peaking.
Killed it this week. It's
for the wild card round. I mean,
man,
I think this is the peak of the script writing this week. You got Stafford v. Goff. It's not really a revenge game for Stafford, like you were saying. The Lions fans, they still like Stafford.
It's like when Thanos pushed his Gamora off the thing. That's kind of what this is. He's Thanos.
It's like, I'm sorry, little one.
It's like, I'm sorry, little one. He has
that's
to
Stafford
do
to the Lions.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But for Jared Goff, this is a revenge game, I would say.
Yeah, I think so.
Because back in 2020, he was their quarterback. He got benched going into their playoff game against Seattle for John Wolford.
Who?
Wolford gets hurt. Goff comes in, leads them to a win over the Seahawks in Seattle.
That's crazy.
They go on, they lose in Green Bay in the next round, and then they go back home to LA, and they go on their vacation or whatever. And normally you have some kind of meeting or whatever, be like, hey, this is what the plan's going to be. Goff gets straight up ghosted by the Rams. He doesn't hear from them for like a month. And then the first thing he hears from them is that he's being traded.
That's crazy.
Because, Sean McVay and Matt Stafford run into each other, and he's like, we should trade for you. And then Goff's just left in the dust, left in the rear view. And so this is straight up like a revenge game for Jared Goff, though.
Mad disrespectful.
He's got obviously the playoff game. He's got something to play for, but then even just sticking it to his old team, like, hey, should have stuck with me.
Yeah, and he also...
I mean, it'd be tough to say that because Stafford did get them a Super Bowl.
Stafford's better.
I'd agree.
And he looks better, and he could... And, yeah, everything. And then you have Tyreek Hill's revenge game against the Chiefs. He's going to put up 200 yards, regardless of if it's negative 50 out or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you have Packers and Cowboys with their old head coach.
The old head coach, and it's also one of the longest rivalries in the NFL, going back to like the 60s.
And the Packers haven't lost in
AT&T Stadium, which has been the Cowboy Stadium since 2009.
They have never lost in it?
Yep, including Super Bowl 45.
That's
insane. They played that stadium.
That's insane. They've never lost there. Yeah, and then the Browns and Texans are playing.
The team that Deshaun Watson got traded to.
Mm-hmm. He's not going to be playing, but storyline, yeah. Anything with the Pack or Bucks Eagles?
It was a playoff game a couple years ago.
That's cool, I guess. And then there's just the Steelers and Bills too. Also,
yeah, they're also there. Their head coaches were roommates in college.
That's kind of funny.
So that's crazy though. Like, there's only 32 head coaches in the NFL, and they were roommates in college.
And they're playing in the playoffs. The Steelers, neither of these teams should be here. The Bills were 6-6, and the Steelers are the Steelers, but they're both here with winning records. The Steelers, I think, won 10 games, right?
10-7,
and the Bills are 11-6.
Only one game separates them, and one of them's the 2 seed.
Yeah,
AFC is stupid competitive like that. One note with that Rams game, specifically with LA, their special teams has been an absolute mess this season. They have 16 missed kicks between field goals and extra points, the most by any team since 2001. And so you can see, Rams are down 21-20. They bring out their kicker for a 37-yard field goal, and it's just wide right.
Yeah.
And so if they lose that game, it could come down to special teams there. Do we want to pick these games while we're going through them since we got time?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Might as well while we're talking about them instead of circling back. What do you got here for sounds like you're picking the Rams.
I am picking the Rams.
Do you have a score prediction for it?
I think it will be tight, but I think the Rams are going to pull away at the end, probably like a man, I don't want to say 35, but I kind of do want to say 35.
Go for
21.
it.
35-21.
35-21. All right,
Rams.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a close game as well. I got my final score 26-21. Rams on top. The reason they have 26 points because they missed some field goals and extra points.
Yeah, that'll happen.
But I don't think it will cost them. But we shall see. For my upset of the week, I mean, they're 7-point underdogs. Somehow, I think it's going to be closer than that, even if they don't end up winning. But give me the Packers over the Cowboys.
Oh, for sure.
Like we were saying, they haven't lost in that stadium before. And sure, it's, under new management in Green Bay, new head coach since we've last played in Dallas, I believe, and or at least in the playoffs. Obviously, new quarterback in Jordan Love going against our old head coach in Mike McCarthy. But I think we've seen that the Cowboys' defense is vulnerable specifically to the run. Aaron Jones is coming off over a 100-yard game against the Bears, who, I mean, they aren't the Cowboys' defense, but their defense was getting better towards the end of the season, and he kind of had his way with them.
That's a stretch, I think. I don't think.
I think Aaron Jones could run all over this Cowboys defense, but I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. Dallas, they're first in offensive points, fourth in yards, including third in passing. Prescott has just been slinging that thing.
Timothy.
And like we were talking about earlier, CeeDee Lamb has been going off in the second half of the season, and it's going against this Joe Barry defense. Like, if Dak Prescott throws for 500 yards also, like, don't be surprised if, or if CeeDee Lamb sets some kind of receiving yard record in the playoffs. You got Jair Alexander out here who's still good. Having a little bit of a down season, though. It's going to be tough to lock up CeeDee Lamb. Dallas is also undefeated at home this season. And obviously, this is a home game for them as the 2 seed.
One of the streaks is going to break.
Something's got to happen here.
Or it's a tie.
Triple overtime.
Triple-double overtime.
But obviously, I'm taking my Packers there. Maybe I'm delusional, but I kind of have a good feeling about this.
I saw a pretty stanky edit for Jordan Love today, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I think I'll also be taking the Packers here.
Ooh, what's your score prediction?
I don't want to say it because if I say it, I'm going to be like, well, the Packers should not be winning.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm taking Green Bay 30-28 in that game.
That's an odd score.
Because the Packers also have trouble with their kicker.
Didn't the Rams let go of Matt Gay?
Yeah, he's on the Colts now.
He was a good kicker. I don't know why they did that.
Yeah, I don't know why they did either. Super Bowl champion Matt Gay.
And now they miss kicks.
Let's see. What other categories are we doing? Biggest blowout?
I'll say the Packers and Cowboys game is going to be 24-31.
Green Bay.
All
right. I'm going to go to the biggest blowout category.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills over the Pittsburgh Steelers here.
Yes, sir.
The only way I think Pittsburgh has a chance in this game is their defense. But they're also without T.J. Watt, like I said earlier. Their offense is 27th in points and 25th in yards.
That is unfortunate.
Their defense has been up there, though, when it comes to stats. Meanwhile, Buffalo, they're 10th in passing and 7th in rushing. Their defense is also 4th in sacks, 3rd in picks, and 4th in points allowed per game. So they have a top 5 defense, statistically speaking, right there. That's throughout the whole season, though. They have lost some key players on their defense throughout the season, but even those, the Matt Milanos and Tre'Davious Whites of the world, they got hurt back in October, and they're still putting up these pretty good numbers right here. I think Pittsburgh's defense has to play good, and Josh Allen has to have one of those games where he throws 4 interceptions, and maybe they end up losing to Mason Rudolph 20-17.
Oh man, I love all the Josh Allen. Just like everybody talking about Josh Allen being somebody with Down syndrome, but he doesn't look like it. And
man, that one throw, it was a crazy throw. The second interception he threw against Miami, he's running to his right. He kind of jumps in the air and throws. He gets hit. He just gets nailed as soon as he does it. Gets destroyed out of bounds and it goes right to the defender. But I was like, even though that was a terrible pass and it was picked, it was kind of a crazy throw.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, and I've seen most of the Bills games this year, and just looking at most of the picks he throws, most of them don't matter. Like, either he wins the game or he loses by a lot. And and
I mean, that game against Miami shouldn't have been close. It was because of all those turnovers that it was at the end.
Yeah, but they won, so it doesn't, like, and
yeah, but they're gonna be playing better teams than Miami if they can beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but so and Josh Allen,
Chiefs beat them.
Oh man, I really hope Miami wins against them, but we'll get that in a second. But like, it was a 4th and 2, and they were like just out of field goal range, and he just chucked it up, and then they got it at the 25 because it was a pick in the end zone. I mean, it was kind of a silly little pick, but and then he had another one at the goal line, which was a bit interesting.
And he also got the ball stripped in the 3rd quarter. Christian Wilkins just kind of took it from him.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that.
A fumble, so he had 3 turnovers in that game.
That's the man leading the league.
So they should have had at least 9 more points. Oh, and also the end of the half where they got tackled at the 1. That should have been minimum 3 more points as well.
Interesting.
Bills should have had at least minimum 12 more points.
Yeah,
and all those are on Josh Allen.
Yeah, a bit interesting. But he did pass for like 350 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns, and he completed most of his passes, but just
2 of them were to the defense.
2 of them were to the defense, yeah. And
like I said, I'm taking this for a blowout of the week. My official score prediction: Bills 33, Steelers 10.
I like that. I'm gonna steal that projection.
Take that score right from me?
Yes, sir, I will.
33-10. All
right. I'm taking Bills to win that, by the way. I'm not.
Steelers win 33-10.
I would probably. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
It would be a podcast all by myself after that.
For the rest of the runtime of the. Yeah. I'm not feeling too sassy or excellent about any of these picks for blowout because the Eagles have been hot, stinky garbage. They haven't been good.
Baker Mayfield masterclass?
I'm kind of hoping for that. I kind of want to take the Bucks here. And then the Browns.
All 9 points they scored against the Panthers.
I mean, yeah, but like he does this thing where he's really, really awful and then like kind of good.
What part of the cycle are we on? I think we're on the play like crap one.
We might be.
So that means we're coming into the good Baker phase. Bucks Super Bowl confirmed?
Confirmed indeed. But the Eagles have not been playing the most excellent ball. Browns were resting all their starters last week, and they were playing really good. Texans also look kind of good too.
So it's like plays. The Browns did beat the Texans about a month ago, but that was when C.J. Stroud wasn't playing. So
yeah, and then I'm looking at this Dolphins-Chiefs game, and I'm like, well, Patrick Mahomes has no one to throw to, and Tyreek Hill is gonna get 200 yards, but the Chiefs are still gonna somehow score 24 points, and it's not gonna be a blowout. I think it's gonna be close, and the rest are gonna make it so that. Sorry, Patrick Mahomes is going to win the game by himself. And I just really don't feel great about any of this. But I think I will take elite Joe Flacco.
Ooh, in a blowout.
And, like, blowout, I mean by, like, 3 points or 7 points or something. But that's kind of all I'm really confident about.
I mean, if the Steelers somehow win and then you're able to pick a game that is a win, it's kind of like when he took the Jags over Titans. Doesn't matter how much the other pick wins by because they won.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm hoping for because I do
You're
want
hoping for the Bills to lose?
What? No, I want the Bills to win. Yeah. I think Browns will like that.
Just like that.
Scratching record. And now I got game of the week here.
Well, you want to touch on the Browns-Texans game a little bit more?
I guess we could.
Yeah, because we're kind of going in depth to each one of these, quote unquote, in depth.
Super depthy.
Cleveland, they're first in time of possession, which makes sense. They average 118 rushing yards a game.
Wow.
And that's with Nick Chubb getting hurt in week 2 or week 3, whatever it was. So they're still running the ball very well without him. And Houston, obviously, they also have to worry about Joe Flacco, who has over 300 yards in his last 4 games.
Elite.
He's the first Browns quarterback to ever do that. And the Browns have been around since the 40s. And they've had some good quarterbacks, not like the 21st century, but in the 80s they had Bernie Kosar, and they had one of the original great quarterbacks back in the 50s, Otto Graham. And so the first Browns quarterback to ever do something like that. I think
he just got off his couch and did that too.
Yep.
Just woke up.
He was on the Jets last year, and they didn't bring him back this year.
And he was just sitting at home, about to watch the playoffs like us with his family.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's in them.
Yep, he's a part of it. He's going to be part of it for multiple weeks even.
Maybe a Super Bowl even.
Yeah, I think if the Texans do win this game, C.J. Stroud is going to have to be the one who really carries them. The run game has been very inconsistent. They're ranked 22nd in rush yards in the league.
Abysmal.
But C.J. Stroud, at times, he's played like a top 5 quarterback.
Elite.
All right? I know he's a rookie, and sure he's had his ups and downs and whatnot. He's played like a top 5 quarterback, though. And he has not played like a rookie for a majority of this season. Mm-hmm. He will have to deal with Cleveland's defense, though. They are 6th in sacks with 48 and 3rd in interceptions with 18.
Wow.
And so you got Myles Garrett, potential Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He's going to be bearing down on you there, and you're going to be throwing, to guys who are going to be covered by Denzel Ward. And so it's going to be a tough game, I think, for Houston's offense, which is why I am going to be picking the Browns to win this game with a score of 23-20 with a Dustin Hopkins field goal to end regulation right there.
Yeah, that sounds like a blowout to me.
Mm-hmm. Who are you picking?
I'll take Browns.
Taking the Browns? All right.
Yes, I'll take the Browns in my blowout with the Browns winning.
Although I'm fine with either team because I really like the Texans, but I'm also a big fan of this Joe Flacco arc.
Oh, yeah. I love this Joe Flacco arc. If they lose to anybody, I think
I'll be very upset.
I think I'll be very
upset. I will be finding the scriptwriters.
Even if it's the Bills, I think I'll still be upset. I'll be upset regardless if they end up
I'll be upset if they beat the Packers in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the Packers beat them in the Super Bowl. Either way, I'm upset in that
just
situation.
Just mad and crying all after football because football's over for a really long time.
Man, we got to enjoy these last few weeks.
Man.
Soak it all in.
Yeah. For game of the week, I will take Dolphins.
One more time?
I'm going to take Dolphins Chiefs for the game of the week.
Interesting. But, I mean, we're only another two games left, and that's the one you got to pick.
Interesting. Yeah, you want me to pick Bucks, who put up 9 points, and the Eagles, who've been bad?
No, but apparently I'm going to have to. But we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, Miami, they've only defeated one team with a winning record at the time this entire season, and it was the Cowboys, who were pretty good at home. Took them also going to the end of the season. Mm-hmm. But any other time they play a team with a winning record, they typically get annihilated. You can look at Buffalo back at the beginning of the season. I think it was like 48-20. Other teams with winning records that I'm blanking on right now.
Buffalo Part 2.
Mm-hmm, Buffalo Part 2, where they really struggled against them. That game wasn't really as close as the score really indicated. In fact, they already lost to Kansas City once back in Week 9 when they played in Germany 21-14.
Oh, and they got stomped by the Ravens.
Oh, yeah. How can you forget them getting destroyed by the Ravens? Yeah, they've just really struggled this season against teams that are actually good. And so
that's why they beat the Cowboys.
I want the Dolphins to be good. I think I've said this before. I want Tua to be good, but I just have such a tough time seeing it. He can't step up in the big moments.
Honestly. And then when he does step up, he throws a pick with his left hand.
Yep.
Steps up into the pocket, gets sacked.
You think Tua's right-handed and he just doesn't know it?
You know what? That might be the way it is. I think Josh Allen's left-handed sometimes, the way he throws picks.
Yeah. Despite Miami's struggles, they're second in points. They score an average of 29.2 per game.
That's crazy.
But Kansas City's defense only allows 17.3 points per game. So the Chiefs have the second best scoring defense and can be going against the second best scoring offense in the NFL. And, of course, the Chiefs have Mahomes and Kelsey, even though he's on a little bit of a down year and whatnot. But it feels like Kansas City's defense that's done a bulk of the carrying to get them to this point. And then Miami, they're also down some of their best players on defense. They lost Jalen Phillips on Black Friday against the Jets. They lost Bradley Chubb against the Ravens. And so even though they're up there, they're third in sacks in the league, but their top two players who get sacks have no more ACLs.
Is that how that happens?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just so they go bye-bye?
I'm not really expecting them to get much pressure on Mahomes in this game. So
that's all I got.
Good analysis. So, yeah, even though the Chiefs are on a little bit of a down year, I think they're going to win this game with the same score from earlier this season, 21-14.
Yeah, I'm taking Chiefs here as well, but I'll take 24-14.
Ooh, put in an extra field goal there.
Or
maybe they just go for 2 on all their touchdowns.
Perhaps.
Their kicker gets hurt in warm-ups.
Wait, what are you talking about? 21-14 is...
You said 24.
Did I?
Yep.
Man. Wow. Yeah, 24-14 is a field goal.
And I guess for game of the week, I'm picking the Eagles going against the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Unfortunate right there. Eagles have lost 5 of their last 6 going into this game.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and DeAndre Swift are all banged up. Swift, he was sick last week, and so he didn't play. I would imagine he's going to play, even if he has pneumonia or something.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts, he fricked up his finger in that terrible loss to the Giants. A.J. Brown left early in the game. Devontae Smith didn't even play. So we'll see what kind of Eagles team we even get. Not that they've been good this year. They made the defensive coordinator switch to Matt Patricia about a month ago. That didn't work. Big surprise there. And I can't really think of a team going into the playoffs that's colder than the Eagles.
Big time freezer team. It's I really want the Bucs to win this game. Like hardcore, I want Baker Mayfield to be winning playoff games.
Tampa Bay is last in running the football. They're only 18th in passing yards, but Philly is 30th in yards allowed. And as bad of a mess as their offense has been, like I said, their defense is a bigger mess.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's insane that the heights that they came from last year, they were so good, and they just suck. Like, no good on defense. Everybody on offense is hurt, banged up.
And Jalen Hurts, every press conference is just a rerun. Have you seen those where he's always like, man, we just can't let these waves bring us down. We got to be able to ride the waves.
Instagram quotes.
Yeah, they're all Instagram quotes all the time. Like you would say, how do you get better? How do you want to, get better at scoring, so you can get your guys more open or whatever. He'll be like, man, what it's really about is we can't let these tough times wear us down. We got to be able to move past them and go on to next week.
And how would you think that the negative losses has affected your team?
We can't really have any negative thoughts going on right now. We just got to, positive vibes only.
Positive vibes only. That's crazy.
Jalen Hurts, put that on a shirt.
And now you've lost 6 of your last 8 games. What do you have to say about that?
I like to have the mentality of a winner. I like to think of those losses and try to see the wins that we can get out of them, the lessons that we can learn, and apply those to these playoff games.
Man, I just got 2 wolves inside of me.
Straight up. Same vibe.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking Bucs here.
I'm taking Tampa Bay 24-17.
Let's go.
Sounds like we are in agreement on all of our playoff picks. That's scary.
Really?
Yeah, we both went with Browns, Chiefs, Bills, Packers, Rams, Bucks.
Oh, man, that means it's going to be the opposite for all of them.
That'd be insane if the Steelers won.
Oh, I wouldn't be too surprised with any of these other games, but if the Steelers win, I will not be here next week.
Mm-hmm.
I won't.
Yeah, a lot of my picks I feel like are kind of upsets. Obviously the Packers or the Cowboys are big favorites on the Packers. The Lions are favorites on the Rams. The Eagles are favorites against the Bucks. But I'm especially taking all upsets on the NFC side of things. But that's just how I see things shaking out.
I agree. The playoffs are a weird place to be, and anything can happen.
All right, let's not go game by game, but tell me who's winning the Super Bowl.
It's going to be a Bills-Rams Super Bowl.
Ooh.
And the Rams are going to win.
Ooh. I think the Rams, I think they win this week. I think they beat Tampa Bay next week.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Packers get clapped by San Francisco.
Unfortunate, but true.
And then I think the Niners beat the Rams in the playoffs.
Mm.
And they're going to be playing. So the AFC side, then I have the Bills beating the Chiefs.
Don't.
And I have the Browns beating the Ravens.
Oh, okay, good.
And then I have the Bills beating the Browns.
Okay.
And in the Super Bowl, I have the Bills losing to the Niners.
Okay, good. Because when people make predictions, like all last year, people were like, yeah, the Bills. And it's like.
And I don't necessarily love the Bills, but like with those matchups, like if they played the Chiefs in Buffalo, I think Buffalo wins that.
Mm.
And I think as much as I love Joe Flacco, I think the magic runs out and he throws 4 interceptions in the AFC Championship game.
Let's go.
That's honestly how I see it playing out. And I'm wrong most of the time, so let's see what happens.
I actually really like the Niners. I know you hate them, but I like the Niners a lot. And I would love to see a Bills-Niners Super Bowl.
San Francisco 48, Buffalo 10.
Just a wide right with every single kick.
Every pass, wide right into the hands of the defender.
Defender, yeah. The Down syndrome starts to really
man,
take
that would be
hold.
a fun Super Bowl watch party.
I would be dead by the end of it. I'm not.
End of the first quarter.
End of the first quarter, I would
gone
for sure gone. Yeah. I'm not bouncing around anymore or hopping or jumping around the fence or whatever they call it. I would be dead by my doing.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching, for listening.
I would kill myself.
Let us know down in the comments, or if you're on Spotify, you can go down the little section where you write things or whatever. Let us know who you think is going to be winning the Super Bowl, and give us the Super Bowl matchup and the winner and what the final score is going to be. Yeah, tell us how you think these playoffs are going to shake out, and then by when we read them, it's going to be already have happened. It'll be April. It'll be we're gonna go through you guys' comments in April in the off season. Yeah, that's the one time a year I got to do it, just like my taxes. Mm-hmm. Once a year I read all the comments. You do your taxes? No. Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't do taxes. All right, see you guys next week. Bye. Love you, David. Love you, David.